Network Entertainment.
And welcome to my podcast, the RJ Ledesma Podcast. In my podcast, I like to speak to entrepreneurs and business owners to learn more about how they think about doing business, what are their success secrets, and how can we replicate that in our own businesses. And I think one of the most important things for entrepreneurs is a certain level of self-awareness. And that's why I'm very happy to have back here on the show from BrainRx Philippines. First of all, Mel Sua, who is the Director of Training over here. Thanks for joining us, Mel. And of course, Joy Go, who is the Center Director for BrainRx Philippines. And for me, this is a very personal journey because it's a journey that my sons are taking here right now in BrainRx. And, you know, I can't help but preach the gospel of seeing really how they have improved in their own journey as students and as people. And I was hoping to share a bit more about what BrainRx is really like, so that parents like me can also make their own decisions to see how they can help improve their kids, and at the same time also see how they can improve their own mental fitness, right? So again, Joy and Mel, thanks so much for joining us back here on the podcast.
Thank you again for inviting
having
us.
Yeah.
Very happy to have you guys. So let's start off really talking a bit more about BrainRx. The last time, you know, I asked you to talk about it as a, I guess maybe more as a business, but this time around, as a parent, looking for, you know, ways to enhance his child's mental abilities. No, what is BrainRx, and how should a parent perceive what BrainRx is?
Okay. So maybe the first point to make is, as a parent, what are you seeing in your child? So if you're seeing maybe a particular learning challenge or performance challenge, so what are these? It could be an attention issue, maybe an inability to focus, or makalimutin. You know, there's a problem with, seemingly there's a problem with memory, or sometimes maybe the processing is not so fast, or, you know, a little bit off, you know. So these are a lot of things that will affect the learning of a child. Mm-hmm. So which can also affect the daily performance. So how they organize their thoughts, or maybe how they perform in school. So as a parent, you want to seek solutions. So we are one of the interventions that the parents can tap. And we come in, our arena is cognitive skills testing and training. This is very different from occupational therapy, speech therapy, tutoring.
Okay.
Very, very different. So what we're like a mental gym where students come to us and we implement a proprietary system of exercises that actually improve the cognitive skills in a child. So cognitive skills would be attention, working memory, long-term memory, processing speed, visual processing, auditory processing, and logic. These are what we call the 7 core cognitive skills that we all use every day. So like right now, as you're processing what I'm saying, RJ, you're using those skills now in your brain. Mm-hmm. So if a child would be listening to the teacher in a class, he or she would be using cognitive skills, writing down notes, writing an essay, understanding math, relating what I'm learning today to what I studied last year, will all use cognitive skills.
I see.
Simply put, it's really hiring a personal trainer for your brain so that your brain can be trained to think faster, solve things faster, better, and more efficiently.
I understand. So it's something that's very good for a child or even an adult coming in. And just to be clear, no. And when I first came across BrainRx, I realized that it's not just something that you do for your kids. Of course, it's the most obvious, I guess, for the children, because there's somebody measuring the performance in school, so you can actually see where it goes to use, right? But I understand also it's also good for adults to actually go through the program. Is that correct?
Yes. So it's good for actually all ages.
Yeah.
We're seeing an increasing demand among adults. I think especially after the pandemic, you know, there's a lot more focus on self-care, and also adults that, you know the limitations that they have maybe of their focus and memory, and now they want to be more productive, or they want to seek higher leadership positions where they know that demands of work would be a lot more. We've had those coming
Yeah,
in.
some people even mention about brain fog. They notice
Brain
them-
fog. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yes. Brain
Yeah.
fog.
Yeah,
oo.
brain fog. So some of the adults realize that or aware of that, and they want to do something about it. Some of our adults also might have suffered some form of trauma, traumatic brain injury. We don't get a lot of those clients, but every now and then we can help those people as well because they want to regain back what they lost from whether it's a trauma or an accident or some form.
I see.
Yeah.
How would you, I guess, more comprehensively describe brain fog so people know? I mean, I know brain fog sort of means like you it's just like a general defocus, right? But what does brain fog mean like for you?
Well,
you?
for me, it's more like knowing that before I could do much more than what I can do now. Things seems to slip much faster, or there's something that I couldn't put a word into my mouth kind of feeling more often than usual. Of course, it happens every now and then. Like, we have memory lapses and all that. That's normal. But if you find that it's more often than it used to be, then people experience some form
It's
of
the
that.
feeling that alam ko it's somewhere there, but I can't seem to dig. I can't seem to remember. I can't seem to focus. So there's parang a bit of haziness, or like you're it's like there's a cloud in the brain.
I see.
Yeah.
And we even had a surviving cancer patient also, diba?
Yeah, we had one, a very lovely lady. So she was a parent of a student. And then that's also one of our interesting stories because she told me, wow, Joy, one day I want to do this program. So before her daughter actually finished the program, she found out that she contracted cancer. And so she had her very quick. She had her surgery, treatment, and she came back, chemotherapy, and said, Joy, I need your program.
Yeah.
I said, how are you? And she said, I have what we call chemotherapy-induced cognitive impairment. That's the official term.
But
So
to her,
when-
it was brain fog.
To her, she said brain fog, Joy. Kasi she's an entrepreneur.
Very sharp.
And a very sharp entrepreneur. So when she knows that, when she does a presentation or she would recall something, the details, kayang-kaya niya yun.
Yes,
And
yes,
now
understand
hindi
that.
na niya kaya. So alam niya, there's that change and she wants to regain that back.
I see.
So
I see.
she came to us and she did our program. So the big, the big skill that improved in her was the long-term memory. Malaki yung jump yun.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. You know what intrigues me kasi about doing BrainRx is really me being both entrepreneur and a sort of like entrepreneur mentor. And one of the things
Yeah.
that I do when I give my talks on entrepreneurship is the idea that as an entrepreneur, you need to see failure as part of the overall growth mentality.
Yes.
Of
Yes.
the growth mentality spectrum.
Yes.
So sort of like failure is not the end. Failure is sort of like
The starting
the stepping
point.
stone. Yeah, the starting point. That you go, okay, I failed here, but what did I learn from this one? It's like saying, and in fact, in school, right? Our kids go to the same school, and I often see the sign: growth mindset, growth mindset, growth
Yes.
mindset. It's like, I'm not good at math. It's not. I'm not good at math yet.
Yet.
But I will get better.
Yes.
And I think that's the same thing because we're not in the Philippines. We're not so used to the idea.
Yeah.
Failure is dapat dibdibin mo yung failure mo. Parang
Yeah.
if you fail here in school, it's like you're failing at life. If you fail in business, I
Yeah.
mean that's how you're often made to.
We're labeled.
We're labeled. But the thing is, I realized that it's part of that sort of growth that growth mindset, and and that's how you need to look at your brain training. That okay, I might not be good at math right now, or I might not be good in these skills, but if I work at it, if I think of my brain as a muscle. I get better at it, and then I will get better eventually.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, I think that's what appealed to me about
Yes.
looking at BrainRx. And I'm right. The brain is sort of like a muscle, right? It
Yes.
works like a muscle.
Yes.
Can you help us explain how it works in BrainRx? How you guys think of the brain and the growth mindset?
So the program itself is rooted in the concept of neuroplasticity, which been researched has found that our brains are not set for life. Our brains can be rewired. So there's a lot of science already behind it. And the fact that to couple that with a growth mindset, we can work to improve ourselves, whether it's cognitive skills or anything we do in sports or in life. we can still change. So if we have that mindset coming in, no matter how hard things may be, we may fail now, but we can work on it to improve on it better. So in BrainRx, when we start, that's one of the key principles we communicate with our parents as part of orientation, as well as the first day of our students. Failure, it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes because we fail now, fail quickly. The important thing is how fast we recover. If you read or listen to very successful athletes, Djokovic, Federer, all these famous players or athletes, they all talk about recovery. How quickly you can recover from mistakes is what makes you stand out from all the other competitors that you might have. And we experience that daily because the exercises we give to our students, it starts off easy, it is fun and non-academic, but there will be points where we will fail or we will make mistakes. And when we make those mistakes, what can we do to be better? So that's part of the training. It's like, okay, now we can only do it for 5 seconds. The expectation may be 10, but I just want you to be faster than 5 seconds. 6 seconds is good. 7 seconds is good. As long as we're beating our personal best and we're trying hard every time, that's good enough for me. That's kind of like the mindset of how we train too.
I see. Do you want to add to that, Joy?
Actually, so that's the mindset that the child would be bringing into the sessions that would play a key role. But as trainers, we also want to help them reframe certain negative mindsets. So for example, let's go back to the common belief that, oh no, I got a failing grade. And then the child would say, I'm not good. Mommy, I'm not good as, my classmate, or I won't ever get it. So these are all mindsets. So what's important is that we get to reframe and make the child change their perspectives towards failure. Failure is really, at the end of the day, it's a learning opportunity. So if parents and educators could see that and use that to teach a child, then we'll have a society that's a lot, less stress when it comes to failing grades.
And a bit
right?
kinder as well.
A little
right?
kinder, so that's true.
For Superman,
That's
kinder.
true.
Like Superman. Yeah.
I've always had the notion, talagang grades, grades are really just a signal. It's a signal on how well learning and teaching is being done. So kapag, let's say, nakita natin yung grades is slipping, then as the adults around the child, let's find solutions. Let's investigate what seems to be causing that problem.
I think we have
Yeah.
to change the mindset also of looking at grades as though be all end all. It's not. It's
Yeah.
a starting point. It's a benchmark where we can say, okay, this grade will allow us to move on to the next more difficult level, or this grade will say that, okay, you're doing well, you can move faster, or you need to stay on this level because you still didn't get it yet.
Yeah.
So I think it's a change in the way we look at grades.
Yeah, it's good if you have an academic environment, a school environment where the culture supports that as well, and the teachers support that sort of attitude. Hopefully, we've got a lot more. We're moving more into that
Yes,
space now.
I think we are.
we are.
I think we are, yeah.
That's great
Yeah.
to hear. And I just want to share a couple of things which personally, which really impacted me, because as I'm raising my sons and my daughter, is that it's the recovery from failure which is important, because like my son, like I said, they're classmates. He plays football a lot, and
Yes.
for him, if he doesn't score that goal, or if he doesn't do well, it's like he takes that with him, and it stays for him with some
For a
time that
while.
I haven't done. So I mean, it's okay. You have to move on, because if you keep that in mind, it'll be baggage for you, and you can't think about
Correct.
scoring again.
Correct.
And so for me, that's important. So like BrainRx helps you that sort of recovery from the failure.
There is a quote from Viktor Frankl where he says, between stimulus and response, there is a space. Okay. So between a stimulus could be, I heard something, or I felt something. Between that stimulus and your response, there is actually that space, that gap. So I believe that it's how well we handle our responses, how well we manage that gap, that will dictate on how good our responses will be. So I like that phrase, because it doesn't just apply to, sometimes mental health, how to react to certain things, or maybe temper issues among adults. But it's also very applicable in the context of what we do, the cognitive training. So as you know, we work on cognitive skills. We work on the 7 core cognitive skills: attention, processing speed, working memory, logic and reasoning, auditory processing, visual processing, and long-term memory. So these are the 7 core cognitive skills that we all use when we're doing anything. Like right now, listening. Everybody's listening to us now would be using those skills. So in the classroom setting, for example, or even at home, sometimes we have kids who are impulsive. They're described as impulsive. Or they have very weak, what we call inhibitory control. Or they are not able to regulate emotions, regulate their thoughts so much. So it's actually teaching that child how to manage that space between when I hear something, then I react. So what we find is that with our program, that ability to improve and manage and regulate yourself actually becomes a lot stronger, such that the way that the child now would react to a stimulus becomes more controlled.
I see.
Yeah.
So if he fails, he understands, okay, this is how I should take it.
There's that tolerance. Tolerance is better. So either it's a tolerance because yung natural ability niya to be impulsive, nakokontrol na. But at the same time, if you work on the logic, the depth of the understanding on why this certain thing happens and why my dad is not allowing me to do this or why I keep on doing it. Sometimes it's a pattern that the child cannot recognize. And sometimes we find that pag mahina ang logic, hindi nila nakikita na paulit-ulit pala yung pattern na yan. So it could be situational patterns, not just mathematical patterns.
So
we've had those kids.
Yeah. So parang iniisip ko ngayon, parang not just in school but in life as well. Because I'm starting, as you're talking to me and my cognitive processing is going on, I can keep recalling situations to get to myself, kaya pala ganyan siya, kaya pala ganyan.
Kaya maraming beses, maraming times, almost every case, we the transfer, we look at the transfer outside of BrainRx sessions. Once we see that in the sessions, that the child's already improving. Let's say, example, like before, tayo ng tayo, they start off as tayo ng tayo, but now they can sit longer. Like in the case of your son.
My son,
Your son, exactly. Nakakasit longer, and now you can see that there's the thought process, nag-iisip na, and puts more thought into thought into doing things. Or really, that the engagement is actually stronger, higher. That usually has a transfer na outside.
And I think part of what we do is making sure that there's small wins. We may not reach the highest level. We may not reach the highest score. But every day we're moving up bit by bit. And if a person sees that improvement and recognizes it, they'll want to do it more. They'll be more engaged. Who wants to fail? Who wants to be called out, diba? I think one of the key things is recognizing those mini improvements, no matter how small, basta it's an improvement from your personal best. That's fine with us. And I think that's part of how we train also, is making sure there's mini goals and mini wins. Yeah.
I also like the idea you talked about reframing, because I think like many kids, they go, I didn't do good now. I'm always not good. This always happens to me because I'm always the one who's wrong. Because syempre, as a parent, you've got to parent, but at the same time, they take it in a specific way. Is that correct? They learn how to reframe also in BrainRx?
Yeah, because there's always a good in that. Yes, we fail now, but didn't you notice that you worked harder for this and you did something better than it? There's always a good that you might have to see, but we still have to work on this part. So recognizing both sides of the coin, make them realize that it's also just important. But sometimes kasi mahina talaga yung cognitive skills. So we need to also reframe it in such a way that that's why you're here and that's why I'm here, to help you work on your cognitive skills, your attention, your memory, so that later on, these things that are challenges for you will become easier.
Case in point.
Yes, please.
So sometimes it could be an interventionist, maybe an occupational therapist or a tutor or a parent or a teacher who's working with the child. So let's say it's a reading problem. So, sometimes no matter how you've employed all the strategies that you know in your toolkit to explain or re-explain or to teach a concept, hindi pa rin maget ng bata. Chances are it's already a cognitive skill issue.
I see.
And that's where we come in. So that's why we do get referrals from those kinds of professions as well.
So it can be like, for example, the occupational therapist is doing their best, and the speech therapist could be doing their best, or the tutor could be doing their best, but because there's something in the cognitive skill that needs to be improved, it's like there's a barrier, there's a gap,
it's a roadblock.
and it's roadblock, and you have to take down the BrainRx takes on that roadblock so that you can all these skills can just go through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So example, I'll use one common example, logic or working memory. So pag ang problem is logic, usually pagdating sa reading, the problem is age-appropriate reading material, no? The child won't be able to answer a lot of the why questions. They tend to understand things very, very literally. Or sometimes when you ask a comprehension question after reading a text, hahanapin niya yung sagot doon sa text mismo. Oo. Yeah. So the child's not able to go deep. And now when we see that in the center, there are other signals. For example, even having problems with the understanding of math, or an inability to recognize patterns. That there's seemingly like there's a logic problem now. And so our testing that we do can actually see whether there is or not. And then from there, when the child comes to us for training, we just work at it.
Yeah. So, hindi ibig sabihin yung pagiging logic niya, I mean, for lack of a better term, it's not saying that, he's not smart enough. It's just that the cognitive ability for logic just needs to be improved so that he can better understand.
Yes.
He'll start picking up what has to be there.
You know what's very interesting, RJ? Sometimes we do get, it was the other side of the fence. We do get honor students. And then, but sometimes the parents are very, very good, very observant, and they know that there's something off. So now, they come to us, and when we test, there are actually weaknesses. So doon namin talaga nakita over the years that you can get the grade because of sheer hard work, or you just know how to take the test.
Okay. You're good at test taking.
You're good at
parang
test
ganyan.
taking. So especially in certain testing environments or school environments where there's a certain way of testing where you can just memorize. If that is the case and the child happens to have strong memory, kayang-kaya. I've seen it because I've done consultations, a lot of consultations over the years, no? So, but pag in certain, you put that same child in another testing format, tapos hindi niya kayang sagutin. So, let's say it uses a lot more logic kasi mahina pala yung logic ng bata. Wala nang analysis. Walang critical thinking. Nadadala lang sa memoryado.
I see.
It's very interesting.
We also get a lot of comments like, my child doesn't like math. So when they don't like math, you kind of have to dissect it down further and see
Why?
what part of math do you not like. Usually when they don't like something, it's usually a signal that they're weak at it.
I see.
And when they're weak at it, we need to understand which part. Because
see.
math is complex. Is it the mechanical side of adding 2 plus 2, 13 plus 20? Or is it the reading part or understanding the instructions part? Is it because they don't have the attention to read everything and follow the steps? Or they don't have the logic, or the logic is weak. They couldn't actually decipher how am I going to solve this problem, or visualization could be weak. You know how when you say Adam has 3 apples and Sarah has 5, some part of it has to be, the child has to be able to visualize the 3 and the 5 and add it together to form that concept of 8, diba? So there's many different parts of the cognitive skills that have to work seamlessly together to just solve that one math problem.
I see.
So there's a lot of things that are underlying. Usually parents just see the tip of the iceberg. They see lazy, ayaw mag-aral, they hate this, teachers complain about this, and etc., etc. But underneath, there could be more, which could be a root cause for weak cognitive skills.
The behavioral, how the behavior, manifests. It's usually it's a sign of something. So these are all signals. And as parents and educators, we should look at those as signals. What are we missing? What can be, what should be investigated? What should be looked further into?
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are we, say for example, now I like that, what are we missing? It's a good starting off point to say, when should the parents start looking at BrainRx, I guess, no? I mean, what is missing? What are the signals that a child should go there? I know that I've seen the FB post that you made that it's struggling in school, whatever else. But what are the strongest signs that they should start approaching a BrainRx for help?
Maybe I'll share what what we do get in the center.
Okay.
So there's different groups of parents. So one would be SOS. That the school already flagged, told me I need to do something because my son is, not paying attention well or not listening or not being able to catch up with the rest of the class. No? So I should do something. So that's one. SOS yan. Talagang they would drop everything just to do the program. Okay. Number two would be parents looking for, let's say, enrichment. Enrichment would be, it's not like a danger thing, but I'd rather my son do something productive rather than, do another thing.
Play video games, home or whatever.
Yeah.
Maximization is the goal.
Maximization. So we do get those sets of parents. We do get parents who are referred to us by doctors or the school, or other interventionists. So we do get that. So sometimes it's because they know the ones referring, especially, for example, if it's a tutor or like an OT, alam nila na
they've done everything.
And yet parang
may kulang pa. They're still not getting it.
Yeah.
I see.
So they come to us. And then there's also a group of parents where they're more curious. It's something, or they find value in getting some sort of a benchmark at where is my child now?
If I want my child to go to an Ivy League school, for example, what do I need to get there?
I
May
see,
mga ganon
I
din
see,
tayo.
I see,
No?
I
Which is interesting because I do get the older kids na to. Like sometimes it's the kids themselves or the parents would say na, may balak mag-law, may balak mag-medicine. So that the child's maybe around 12, 13, 14, sometimes 16. And then they do the testing and the memory scores are so bad. And the parents somehow validate, makalimutin. Sabi ko, then we need to do something because if your child really wants to take a course that's heavy on memory work, he will have a hard time.
We even had a law student.
We have a couple of law students as well. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, with
So-
memory
See,
issues.
this is self-awareness na. I mean,
Yeah.
they know that they want to get into law, but
Or
one of
they
them
are in law school na, tas nahirapan.
then one of them was dyslexic. So she knows she has difficulty reading. And so, in law school, you have to read tons.
Dami.
So she enrolled herself, even though how busy she was, she enrolled herself so that she could get through law school easier.
So even for dyslexic, the BrainRx works for
Yes,
dyslexic
Definitely.
individuals?
Yes.
We do have a ReadRx program that's targeting the reading skills of kids.
Oh,
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Very,
So
very interesting.
we have 4 programs. We have the BrainRx, which is the core program. We have the
What does BrainRx address? So you've this program.
it's like a core
General,
program.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's
Core
good
cognitive skills.
for 7 years and up, all the way till adults.
Okay.
Yeah. We have what we call the ReadRx program and the MathRx program. So these 2 programs would be like, it's a cognitive training program pa rin, but addressing a lot of reading, spelling issues for ReadRx. And math naman would address like math-related. So for example, for math is, there are kids who can't seem to get math.
They hate math.
They hate math. That's already the feeling. And these could be kids who are in their 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age na. And ni talaga nila mag-get. So when you drill down to why they're not getting it, we sometimes find because mahina ang logic, mahina ang visual processing, mahina ang working memory.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot. I won't go into that now, but depends on the combination of skills that we see. There are impacts, the nuances. There are different nuances. Now, the other program we have is what we call Accelerate RX. So this is for the younger kids, the 4.5 to 6-year-olds, or the older kids who need much more help. Na hindi pa nila kaya yung BrainRx.
I see.
Yeah, so that's actually very good, RJ, for kids with
readiness also.
It's a school readiness program. You don't have to have any knowledge of letters or numbers. That's a very good program to have.
Start with,
and
yeah.
all our programs work on executive function. That means
What do you mean by executive function? Yeah.
it's a set of mental processes that we use to plan, reason, and problem solve. So the core executive function skills would be working memory. This is like the RAM of our brain, no? Cognitive flexibility and inhibitory control. So you want to have those skills in place because kids who have high executive function, they actually become good learners, better learners.
I see.
Yeah.
So again, to clarify, this is a non-academic program. They're not there to go there to learn how to do math better or to learn to do reading better, but it equips them with the, like you said, executive functioning skills so that when they put math through their brain or reading through their brain, it's it goes to better set of cognitive abilities.
It is a cognitive training program. So we work on improving the cognitive skills such that the executive function processes become better, such that the reading becomes smoother and the thinking required for math becomes better.
Okay. So now, I'm interested right now. I'm a parent who's interested to do BrainRx. What's the first step that they take? Do they do some sort of assessment to see where their cognitive skills are at, where the kids' cognitive skills are at?
Yes, so they contact us to book an assessment. We call it a cognitive skills assessment. We don't do any diagnosis. This is a quick screening type of test. You're usually one slot is about an hour and a half, and then the child's done.
What do they do in that assessment?
Okay,
usually?
so depends. If it's a younger child, there's a what we call an initial needs analysis. So it's a kind of testing where we make them answer certain questions, and we also do some trial exercises with them to also gauge certain skills. For the older kids, they do a certain testing. It's administered by. It's a test on the computer, but there's also someone observing how the child would be faring. And then we also do some exercises to test certain skills.
Yeah.
So that's the starting point. And then from there, we interpret the results with the parent. Some parents, different parents have different goals, RJ. So like kanina yung what I was saying na, kung SOS na, then we see there's a lot of skills that are weak, then we recommend for them to go through the program. But on the very rare occasions that, sometimes the parents' goals don't seem to match the cognitive ability of the child, then we also suggest them to explore other options outside of BrainRx.
Parents, this is your cheat code to understanding your gamer kid. This is Keri Kita, Guide for Non-Gamer Parents. I'm Ray.
And I'm Joey, hardcore gamers, hardcore parents. Let's learn from each other. Dito,
Keri Kita.
When you talk about goals, I'm thinking as a parent goals with, I want my son to get better grades, right? I mean, that's the basic thing, right? Or I want him to pay better attention at school. Is that a goal that most parents share when they sit down with you guys?
Yes. So goals can be, they come to us because ang goal nila is, this is very, it sounds funny, but it's very real. Sabihin ng parent, kasi lagi akong tinatawag sa school. So they just want
I can feel that. I can feel for that parent. I can feel, I know exactly.
Lagi akong may love notes sa teacher. Yan. So parang, they just want to be able to help the child be better so that, they don't get, those kinds of anymore, those kinds of love notes anymore.
And sometimes also parents say, I just want them to follow my instructions. Sometimes
yes.
I give them 5 things and they only remember the first one. Or sometimes I have to call them so many times to get out of their gadget and to come and eat. Yung mga daily routines ba seems so labor intensive that they fight. They fight at home.
Yeah.
They want to lessen those, and sometimes it's about attention, sometimes it's about memory, depending on ano yung cognitive skills that may be weak, that may be causing those kinds of behavior at home.
Sometimes naman we have kids who are actually very bright and their cognitive ability is actually pretty strong, but the attention is so bad. And sometimes they could be gifted or they could be competing in, for the math Olympiad and all that. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's actually, at the end of the day, these are parents who see some gaps, see that their child could be better in certain things, so that maybe the child's learning could also improve more. And sometimes we do get kids that, again, they're very self-driven. I mean, it's not bad, but they're very self-driven. They're self-aware. They want to do this, but they get so frustrated because they can't seem to, do that.
But they want to get better, but they just don't know how. They don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
The means
Where
to
to
get there.
start.
Yeah. We've had some kids that actually tell their parents, Mom, I need a better brain. Minsan nakakaiyak, very nakakalungkot.
Yeah.
So Mom, can you do something? Can you find something? Because I don't think my brain is working well. May mga ganon.
I see.
So they know, these are the older kids na mga 12, 13 sometimes, they know the limitations na. And they can see themselves versus
against their
classmates.
peers. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. And so the parents want to help
Yeah,
them.
they can they can feel for the kids. And then so once they take the test and you assess them, what's next? So you give them, I guess, based on your 7 cognitive skills, you tell them, okay, this is where they are on the cognitive skill spectrum, I guess. No?
And then we understand what are your goals? What are the parents' goals? So a parent, sometimes ang goal nila, Joy, basta hindi lang bumagsak anak ko. Kasi ngayon pa lang, it's like all sabit ng grade, may bagsak. Kahit average lang sila, we're good. But then we also get parents na, Joy, take them to the max. So different parents have different appetites, no, for their goals. We understand the goals of the parent, and then we recommend the program.
Oh, so you've got 4 programs. You tell them, dapat to BrainRx, ito dapat Accelerate, ito dapat. So usually kayo nagre-recommend kung which part of the program for them to take. Okay.
And looking at where the child is at that stage.
And then if they do enroll in BrainRx, usually how long are the sessions for? I mean, how many sessions should they attend, and how long is like each session for?
Okay, so it's a daily program. It's usually we require 5 to 6 hours of training a week. So normally it's 5 days a week, or it could be 4 days that are a bit longer. Again, depends on the center. So like our center, we do a 5-day training. Now, the reason for that is we need consistency and also the frequency for neuroplasticity to work.
I see.
Okay.
So it can't be na on the weekends lang to, independent ganyan. Oh,
No,
okay.
there has to be a certain level of consistency and intensity. Just like if, let's say, you have a fitness goal, you want to run a 5K marathon. You can't just go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week. It won't yield the same results as if you went 5 times a week.
I see.
And with every session or every time you go to the gym, it's not just relax, chill lang tayo. Kung ano lang kaya ko, yun lang gagawin ko. You have to be pushed a little bit. And that's where you have to go beyond what you're comfortable and then see how far you can go. And then every time you're stretching that particular skill or what you can do.
I see. It's like it's like for me, I go to the gym. It's always like the trainer saying, okay, every time you've got to go to, if you can do 12 to 15 reps easily, you have to go up to your next set of weights
Exactly.
here.
Yes.
Exactly.
So every session, there's a loading component. Hindi pwedeng laging easy lang so that you can reach your goal.
So lagi, hindi siya easy dyan.
It starts out easy, but we have to push them enough so that they're stretching.
Okay.
Because you need to mentally sweat din eh. You can't just be relaxed all the time. Otherwise, we won't learn. Science already proves that the way we learn is we have to be uncomfortable 70% of the time. So you need to experience some form of discomfort because you are stretching what you're able to do.
But they're comfortable in their discomfort of going to BrainRx. Because I'm thinking like my son who goes there right now is like, okay, BrainRx, okay, I gotta go. I mean, he's not. I mean, if he didn't like it, he'd be hesitant to want to attend. But he's so
we have to make the sessions fun too. So
I see.
that because the nature of the program, it's a fun non-academic activities. So kids tend to like it.
I see. So usually, what is the duration of the program? How long should they train for, or go to sessions for until it will yield results that you can observe?
So depends nga on the goals of the parents. So sometimes we do have to recommend a longer program. I think maybe the shortest run for us would be about 3.5, 4 months. The longest we've had would be over 2 years, maybe close to 3 years.
Yeah.
And these are usually kids coming from a very low cognitive profile.
And sometimes with special needs
and
also.
sometimes with special needs as well. So what's interesting is that sometimes the parent says, sige, magta-try lang ako. So they choose the short. And now they see that the effects are so good. And usually we see improvements starting the 2nd and the 3rd month. And then now they want to say, continue tayo. Continue.
I see.
Kaya minsan nawawalan ng, we can't slot in another client because the parent still wants to continue for that same slot. Yeah.
And then it's an hour-long session? It's 2-hour-long session?
1 hour
it's
each
usually
time.
1 hour,
1 hour.
Yeah.
And what usually happens in that 1 hour session? Can you give me an idea of what they go through?
So it's usually 50% is a tabletop procedure and 50% is over digital. So for today, if you come in for 1 hour, you will be working with a trainer, going through mental exercises. You can think of like, I don't know if you went through the arrows game with us when
I
you
saw
started.
it was there.
Yeah, it's like some colored arrows where
Wasn't that easy? I mean, at first, like you said,
it starts out
starts
easy,
easy,
where
yeah,
I
yeah.
ask you to state the colors of the arrows, then later on direction, then we have to rotate the direction. Sometimes we have to state color and direction, so using your attention skills to switch back and forth. So it's kind of like those kinds of activities. Like tic-tac-toe, for example. We can be playing tic-tac-toe, but there's a way we implement it such that tic-tac-toe can be more challenging, where we use your memory skills more, your visualization skills more, but the essence of the game could be tic-tac-toe. Or we will ask you to memorize something and memorize something in a different way, not just by rote, but by using your visual skills.
I see.
We have a bit of simple math, simple addition, simple subtraction. Can you do that fast? So we have a bunch of these fun activities that allow them to play with a trainer for about an hour. Then tomorrow you might come back in and it's a digital program. So there are certain things that the computer does better than us. So there would be like the attention arrows game, but on the computer. Kasi the computer can do it fast, it must quicker in transitions. Or there could be a jigsaw puzzles pieces that move
will fly.
around that will fly, but you have to put them together while remembering the numbers that flash in front of you. So there's memory, there's visualization, there's attention, there's speed component that the computer does better. And so you're supervised as a student, the trainer will supervise you and see how they can help you work on those skills in front of a computer. So 1 hour tabletop, 1 hour digital, 1 hour tabletop, 1 hour digital.
You will feel that your brain's getting a workout.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. Are they tired? I mean,
Oh,
especially
yeah.
physically.
Initially, especially if coming from a low profile, they feel so tired. They could get hungry or, they're tulog, once they get into the
Car.
the vehicle.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
but eventually, nasasanay eh. So now, that's what we're after. We're trying to stretch.
Building the mental stamina.
mental stamina. Yeah.
Mental stamina
The
naman
cognitive
to.
loading, pag before, ito lang kaya ng brain. Ngayon, imagine pag working memory mo mahina. And then somehow you're able to stretch that. Then you could actually hold more mental inputs at any given time.
And like you said, no, I mean, it sounds technically it sounds deceptively simple what you're trying to tell me, but that just means that. But it's all scientifically proven, is that right?
Yes.
Tell me a bit more about how like the guy who developed BrainRx, how did he come about? What is his background that gives him, I guess, the reason for us to want to do this?
Yeah, well, Dr. Ken Gibson is the founder of LearningRx and BrainRx. So he was an optometrist by trade.
Optometrist.
Yeah, so he was a doctor, but he was dyslexic. So he went through medical school with much difficulty because he had struggles in reading. So when he was doing his practice for usual visual impairment, for working with patients with visual issues or challenges, he realized there's more to it than just the vision. He realized there's something in the brain that's not clicking. That's why they're still not seeing what they're supposed to see or process what they see properly. And that's how he and his brother started to develop brain exercises that can help them process things better. And so he developed the LearningRx program, then the BrainRx program, and they started licensing it out to internationally in the 90s. Yeah.
I see.
So he himself was dyslexic. So he understands the struggle of not being able to read fast or have the struggles of reading.
And then scientifically, these tests have been sort of proven that they've gone through the whole testing.
They've even established a Gibson Institute of Cognitive Research headed by Dr. Amy Moore. You can actually look it up. She's got a 18-minute TED Talk about training 100,000 lives. So these are 100,000 brains. And so these are different testimonies about how the brain was improved through training. And there's a website for that. And this is 30 plus years of research, published journals on different case studies. So they've done it on people with traumatic brain injury. They've done it to senior citizens, people with ADHD, people with autism, people with different sorts of learning challenges. And so it's very much backed by research. And that's why we see the results we're seeing here in our center.
There's even one study where they actually measured where oppositional behavior decreased. So academic challenges and oppositional behavior decreased.
What do you mean by
over
oppositional
time.
behavior? Sorry.
Yung mga students that don't take well to authority, so they oppose a lot. They're more
Defiant in a way.
defiant. They don't follow instructions as well. They question a lot. Yeah.
I see. And then, so when they've done the session, so we know more or less what goes through a session. When do you start? Do you check up again? Like say, okay, do you tell the parents, okay, does he just do everything and they say, we're done? Or is there a checkup session? Or is there something you update the parents?
The trainers do update the parents regularly. Via quick, when they fetch the students or, through text message. But then we do have formal check-ins. It's like a parent-teacher conference, but we call it midway review.
Walang note
midpoint
na
review.
pinapadala. Walang note na pinapadala. Wala note. So hindi na ba stress yung parents na note na ganyan? Oo.
Yeah, just like what we had with
Yes.
you,
Yeah,
RJ. So it's really more of a collaborative type of meeting. We share what we're seeing, we share the journey, we share the progress, and we also want to hear, from your end, where are we, how are we doing? Yeah. So we go back to the goals discussed at the start of the program.
And then at the end of the program, they also take the cognitive skills test again and to see how they improved from where they started the program.
see.
So there's a baseline and then the end point.
And then we
Okay.
monitor also the improvements. Yeah.
But sige, I mean, this is really great. I can see the whole process over here. And sometimes it's much easier when we are able to share, I guess, the stories that you've had from... I know that you've got a wealth of stories from the years you've been doing it, but maybe share with me a couple of stories which have become very meaningful for you guys when it comes to where you've seen that the BrainRx intervention has really changed the life of some of the kids.
One of the most unforgettable, and I hope I know he's a follower. Hi, Ray, if you're watching.
I was going to mention
You
him
mentioned
too,
Ray
yeah.
also. So Ray was a teenager in one of the schools in Pasig. You're familiar with that school. So he came to us because his dad brought him in. Because this is a boy who was so masipag and who was so frustrated and had low self-esteem because he was not doing well. And he could see that he was not doing well compared to peers. He's in his 20s now, but so he was with us when he was much younger. I could remember the dad said, Joy, itong sasabihin ko sa'yo, wala nang higit sa kasipagan sa anak ko. And then, so I remember asking the boy, si Ray, sabi ko, Ray, so how do you feel? Sabi niya, tita tawag sa akin, Tita Joy, I keep on trying and trying and trying and I just can't do it. You could really see the frustration, yung parang almost the burden of the, what was his feeling is there on his shoulders. Yeah. I remember that. I remember that story so well. It's always I can't forget that. So the program actually changed him, changed the way, improved the way that his processing was, improved the memory. This was a long time ago, but it's one of the standout stories that I've always had at the back of my head.
And the father.
The father,
The
yeah.
father said, Oh, Joy, hindi na kami nag-aaway ngayon. That was the family dynamics improved.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
yes.
to think that we are just a cognitive skills program, how did we know that we would actually impact the
Yeah.
family dynamics as well at home? Just because he's able to do things himself, he's got more initiative na, then they don't have to nag him anymore. Then naturally, the family dynamics
They happily gave a
improved at home.
testimonial. And then Ray, so
Yeah.
he lives now in the US. So when he's in town, so
He'll
sometimes
come
he
by.
would come by, drop by,
I see,
and visit.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Any other stories you want to share? How about like somebody improving in school, I guess, no?
Yeah.
Ah, yes.
Ang dami yun.
Marami yan. I have one story. Kami ang last resort. I remember the story. So this is one of the schools in San Juan, a major school. So the dad said, Joy, frustrated yung dad. I could see the dad was so frustrated. Sabi niya, Joy, alam mo, kayo ng last resort. Kasi lilipat na talaga kami ng school. Kasi ilang beses na kaming tinawag ng school. And this boy not only had academic concerns, but also disciplinary issues. So, came in. When I showed the cognitive profile to the dad, so one of the things na mahina sa boy kasi yung logic, I remember. And the dad said something. Joy, ang one of my frustrations is that natawag na na siya, na disciplinary action na siya, inulit na naman niya. So sabi ko, tell me about it. It turned out, RJ, it involves a different set of people. It's slightly different, but the nature of the infraction was the same. So sabi ko, your son can't see it. Look at his logic. He can't see that it's a pattern. So when I said that,
he
it
can't see it's a
finally
pattern.
clicked. It
Okay.
finally clicked because the son kept insisting, no, it's not the same. And so the dad said, it's the same.
Okay.
That's a
okay.
very logical person. So the way that he was managing the son in a very logical way, hindi
makita ng anak
nagwo-work.
niya. So,
Hindi
it also
nakikita.
impacts family dynamics.
Yes.
I see,
yeah.
I see.
The boy turned around. I remember they even said na, the boys on a Friday would be studying his homework, would be doing his homework. Kasi nga, nagkaroon ng change yung processing. And then, the boy became more, engaged. He could understand more. He could see that, whatever he's doing would have impact na. Yeah.
I see,
I remember that. That's a real,
Yeah, I remember
Epidemic.
that also that child that has that's on the spectrum. Her mom is a very diligent mom. Hands down ako sa kanya. She's done all the sessions,
yes.
all the therapies available. Nag-graduate na daw siya sa
Sabi
lahat
niya,
ng
sabi sa akin,
interventions.
Joy, name it,
I've
I've done
done
it.
it.
Yeah,
Oo,
name it,
yeah.
I've done it. So the child already was, I think, 12, 13. And it usually happens because I've had a chat with a few developmental pediatricians. Normally nga daw, pag umaabot na sa yung mga autism, no? So umaabot na sa isang certain point, wala na daw silang maibigay masyadong interventions na because they don't want to do OT na kasi tapos na everything. They
Yes,
don't
yes,
need
yes,
it.
yes,
So
yes.
they come at a standstill. And we were told that we were one of the interventions that are very good or ideal to break that. Kasi that case of that mom, the problem was the logic was mahina.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of the other skills as well.
And when she first came in, di ba, parang all she did was parroting. When you
A little
talk
bit
to her,
parroting,
parang
yeah.
hindi nagko-connect yung conversation.
You ask a question like, for example, RJ, do you want the fried chicken? You want to eat? Or what did you do in school today? So the way that the child would be answering would say, school? So as if trying to recall, and then the mom would be there giving prompting. Yes. Oh, what did you do today in school? Remember, you had this. After that, what did you do? And then, what did you do? May mga ganon.
But at the end of the program, wow. He was carrying a K-pop conversation with me.
Wow.
And she
Yeah.
was telling me about this Blackpink and parang, there was nothing. That's like you couldn't tell that she went through the program.
So this girl, this the student, attended one of our events where the mom was a guest. So the mom happily talked about her experience. And I was so amazed because this was already a few months after she finished. That girl was in the audience. And I told the mom after, that girl was in the audience. Every time that everybody would react and laugh, she was
Laughing.
laughing
So
along.
tama, tugma yung reactions
Tugma na.
na.
Yes. Tugma
Stimulus
na.
response is correct at this
Yes,
point. Yeah.
yes. She could understand everything. And I remember
She was
telling the mom
highly engaged.
afterwards,
Wow.
sabi ko, ang galing na niya ngayon. Sabi niya, oo nga. Ganun na nga daw.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
really great to hear. Now,
Yeah.
my other concern, I guess, as a parent, is saying that it has to be done on almost a consistent basis, 4 to 5 times a week. And I can see how it can be done during summertime.
Yes.
But then when it's done during school time, can you share with us maybe some of the best practices that you've seen to manage doing this during school days?
I would always go back to the pain point, to the level of pain that the parent's experiencing. Because sometimes, a lot of times, the reason they would not be able to do the program is because they have this, they have that, they have basketball, they have,
Chess, they have
ABC, or everything.
lahat na.
So I go back, what's your goal? Because if you're okay with postponing this, it doesn't have big repercussions, then it's fine. Diba? But if you're in an SOS situation, and some parents realize it, they really drop everything. So I go back to that eh.
But then
Alam
again,
mo,
this
gagawa
is...
talaga sila ng paraan pag kailangan eh.
But then this is a temporary program. We're not a forever
Yes.
program, lifelong. You have to be with us. Within 3 to 6 or maybe 1 year, 6 months to 1 year, you will see changes. So it's a temporary sacrifice. But usually it's an after school thing. Like after school dismissal, they bring them to us. They bring the student to us. And then we just work for an hour and then that's it. So yun lang. There's a bit of sacrifice when it comes to that 5
Yeah.
times a week, but it's temporary.
There are other centers that they can go to, which would be nearer to them. But then again, RJ, we're also trying to get more licensees so that,
More
the
areas to serve.
service.
But it's
Yeah,
it's not so
the closer.
difficult.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's not so
understood.
difficult. It's
closer
less
they are.
difficult. Like
Yeah.
we had this student from Binondo who could come only every summer.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, like you said, for the neuroplasticity to work, it needs to be consistent and you said consistent and
Intense.
intense.
It's just temporary. It's just like
It's temporary. Okay,
like
really
pregnancy. It's just temporary.
great. But you've got a lifelong child to take care of after
Well,
that one.
as opposed to having a lifelong challenge of dealing
Yes,
with
exactly,
that,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
So, temporary.
Konting
lifelong
tiis.
betterment, lifelong
Konting tiis
betterment,
lang.
konting tiis
Yeah.
lang.
Hanga ako. Alam mo, kaya ng mga ibang parents.
Really,
Hanga
really
ako
great.
sa kanila.
I really appreciate this, and it's we could keep on going on and on with the session, and I see what's really great about it. Now, as we start to wrap things up, a couple of right now mga parenting tips I have in mind, especially cognizant of
Yes.
of these situations where the kid needs improvement. What parenting tips can you give for children where they're encountering this one and how they can manage it? I guess at this point before doing BrainRx until finally they decide to
My
move
number
to that
one tip always to any parent, any educator is to develop very good observational skills. If you don't allow if you don't allow the space to have time to observe your child, then what will you tell the interventionist or the doctor or us, right? So observational skills is very much key into having a very good starting point. But then, pag hindi kaya, I understand that some parents are, they're still developing that skill or they're very busy. Then they also seek na lang professionals who can do that.
Like teachers,
Teachers,
tutors,
yeah.
interventionists. My other thing is making sure lang that we act on it also. Early intervention is still key.
Yeah.
Maternal instincts, trust them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we mothers feel na there's something. We need to seek out what it is that is bothering us about our child, whether it's a learning challenge or is there's something not quite right. He doesn't quite compare with his sibling, blah, blah, blah. We seek out a solution for that because I believe the maternal instinct is quite strong. We know when there's something wrong, then you need to seek the right intervention for whatever it is you're trying to solve.
Got that. And finally, for the parents here who are interested to get an assessment for their children, can you tell us a bit more? How can they contact you guys or contact any of the other centers here?
Okay, so actually the fastest way is just to remember our website, brainrxph.com, or you can search Google BrainRx Philippines, and then there's lots of ways to contact us through Facebook, IG, telephone numbers are all there. Yeah.
Fantastic.
BrainRx Philippines.
BrainRx Philippines. Again, guys, thanks so much. I feel it's quite a relief to listen to you guys. And I think for other parents as well, who are also, I guess, at their wits' end or figuring out how can we help our kids more. There is a way. There are ways that we can do it, and it also helps them develop. They're not there yet, and this is
Yes.
basically what BrainRx is. It brings you to they're not there yet to they are getting there. Okay. And again, thanks so much to both Joy and to Mel. Thanks for joining me here on the RJ Ledesma Podcast. We will see you in our next podcast. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank
you,
you,
RJ.
Thank you, RJ.
Thank you.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.